Hey guys, so this video will be covering a very brief collection of trans disinformation, specifically in terms of trans identity and the representation of trans people by society. It is a wide topic, so I will be covering some of the more relevant issues today. Refresher on disinformation. It is information that is intentionally misleading. It has a large role in creating false beliefs and manipulating opinions and takes advantage of confirmation bias. Therefore, it's often used to harm a person or group. Historically, it was very common in warfare and politics, but nowadays it has spread through countless aspects of everyday life. Among the countless waves of disinformation that submerge the internet, one that negatively impacts an entire community is that regarding trans and queer individuals. Led by societal structural transphobia, the constant disinformation regarding the healthcare and identities of trans people has created a widespread misunderstanding of them as a minority and as human beings. What is structural transphobia? This term describes restrictive laws, policies, and/or prejudicial attitudes specific to transgender populations at the geographic level. The bias present within many of these policies and attitudes both originates from and produces disinformation about the trans community. As we have witnessed over the decades, healthcare and medical conditions garner more disinformation and speculation than almost any other subject. It was the case with the HIV/AIDS crisis in the 1980s, and it was the case recently with COVID-19. Therefore, it's no surprise that trans healthcare has amassed countless instances of disinformation, notably regarding gender-affirming care. Just as homosexuality was once considered a social contagion, gender dysphoria is often ruled as a mental illness in laws and policies. There have been countless claims about the dangers of medically transitioning, with many people calling it child abuse. A notable example was Alabama's 2022 Vulnerable Child Compassion and Protection Act, which sought to protect children against, quote, medical interventions that have no proven benefit, end quote. With this law, the Attorney General claimed that gender dysphoria was a condition that resolved itself naturally by adulthood. This shows a significant example of disinformation, one that makes the lives of trans individuals all the more dangerous in the US. This type of gender-critical ideology further spreads disinformation by questioning the trans identity. Terms such as mental disorder and a psychiatric diagnosis are often used to describe what is, in truth, a state of being no different from any other aspect of someone's identity. Unfortunately, disinformation regarding transgender people, alongside societal transphobia and homophobia, has made gender-based violence a significant danger, particularly towards trans women of color. With methods such as the trans panic defense, perpetrators of gender-based crimes can legitimize acts of lethal violence against trans individuals. While not an official defense within legal framework, the trans panic defense is used to claim a state of panic, temporary insanity, or self-defense after having committed a crime against a gender non-conforming person. The defendant argues that they were deceived or lied to by the transgender individual, further perpetuating the false idea that trans people are deceptive, manipulative, and disturbed. The amount of court cases that blatantly discriminate against transgender victims are many, requiring further research into the subject. Hopefully, by promoting truthful and positive representation of the trans community, the disinformation will fade and the cycle of violence against queer, gay, and transgender people will cease.